Hello everyone. As you might already know, my phone of choice for most of this year has been the iPhone 12 mini, which I've loved to bits and is probably one of my favorite iPhones ever. However, the iPhone 13 mini offers an improvement over last year's model, and this is enough to make the 13 mini an even better deal than the 12 mini before it, and in my mind, the pick of the range for those who don't really need the best of the best iPhone out there. That's still the 13 Pro Max if you're wondering, but also don't want to spend too much on a brand new phone. So why do I think the iPhone 13 makes the most sense in the range? Here are a couple of reasons. First and foremost, cameras are improved, but they're the same as in the regular 13, and as a bonus, the main sensor is the same as the one from last year's iPhone 12 Pro Max. You also get the new cinematic mode, which is Apple speak for portrait video basically. True, the best cameras are reserved for the 13 Pros, but do you absolutely need them? For day-to-day photos and videos, like the ones I take for instance of moments with family and friends, you don't need a complex camera array, but a reliable, simple, fast shooter that just snaps pictures without worry. Last year's 12 mini delivered this without issues, and by getting the sensor from the 12 Pro Max, it should mean even faster shutter speeds, better photos, and videos overall. The cherry on top is that you can take videos in Apple's new cinematic mode. Even at 1080p, if Apple's presentation is anything to go by, the videos will look amazing. Apple went all in on this, hiring Oscar-winning filmmakers to deliver a sleek presentation, and they managed to create awesome-looking scenes while filming with the iPhone 13. And this entire presentation was done for the iPhone 13, so we know for certain that the similarly spec'd iPhone 13 mini will benefit from the same capabilities. Secondly, there's a brighter display, 800 nits max brightness versus 625 for last year's model. And this was a small complaint I had with my 12 mini. Brightness in direct sunlight wasn't fantastic. Not bad, but not great either. Well, the 800 nits max brightness should fix that and make the display more legible than ever before in direct sunlight. Again, interestingly enough, it's a match for last year's 12 Pro and Pro Max displays in terms of brightness, so another big plus. Thirdly, and this one is going to address the mini's biggest weakness, battery life. You get much improved battery life than ever before. The battery itself is only about 10% larger, as revealed in documentation found online, so it's about 2,425 milliamps versus 2,227 on the 12 mini. But Apple codes some nice improvements on their website. For instance, the 13 mini will get 17 hours of video playback as opposed to 15 in the 12 mini of last year, and 13 hours of video streaming as opposed to last year's 10. This last number is the most interesting though, as last year's 12 Pro Max was rated at just 12 hours of video streaming, so this is very interesting to say the least. Overall, Apple says the 13 mini will get 1.5 hours more battery life than 12 mini in similar conditions, and that might just be enough to get you through the day without having to recharge at some point. The fourth reason is that you get the same portable, diminutive design as last year, though the 13 mini is a tiny bit thicker, about 6 grams heavier than before, but it's still going to be a light and compact phone. The base model now also gets double the base storage, starting at 128 gigabytes, which should be more than enough for most day-to-day users. The fifth reason is that there's a performance improvement over the 12 mini. Admittedly, the improvement is not that big, but it should keep the 13 mini very competitive. The RAM stays the same as before, but honestly, I've never felt it to be a massive constraint even in the 12 mini. Sure, some apps may reload when you launch them, but the process has always been quite fast in my opinion. Sure, 50% more RAM in the Pro variants will mean less of this, but does reloading apps bother you that much that you need to pay an extra $300 to $400? Well, that's going to be your choice, but personally I would always pick the cheaper phone and the leftover cash. Last but not least, you have the price. The 13 mini starts at the same great $730 as before. Keep in mind the $699 price quoted by Apple is valid only if you buy it through a carrier. And at the same price, you get a refined idea of last year's mini-sized iPhone, which was already pretty awesome in my opinion. And if you just need a simple day-to-day phone that can do about 90% of the things that phones costing nearly twice as much further up in the range can actually do, I think the 13 mini is definitely worth consideration as long as you can live with the smaller form factor and obviously the smaller display. After using the 12 mini for nearly 10 months now, I can surely say that in my experience, you can easily live with a slightly smaller display, but that brings the added benefit of lightweight and great portability. And just one more thing here, just some food for thought. The phone that launched the whole big screen concept 10 years ago, the phones that we called phablets, well, that was Samsung's first Note. That phone actually had a slightly smaller 5.3-inch display than the 5.4-inch in the current mini iPhone. Time sure changes perspectives in a big way, doesn't it? As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving the video a thumbs up and subbing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.